What's up, everybody? I know it's been about a couple of weeks since my last video, but it's okay. There was a reason for it. I was really waiting for the Guardians of the Galaxy to come out, and it did not disappoint. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you're on the net like I am all the time, you've already known that this movie is going to be fucking amazing. It is amazing, but I have some thoughts on it, and I think I'm going to stir some people the wrong way because, you know me, I have to think about things in a different perspective and a different light just to keep the realism. Now, with that being said, let's get into it. Here we go. Alrighty, guys. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Again, just like I said from the very beginning, it is an amazing movie. It is an amazing movie. It's very well shot. It's very well acted. I never thought that I would say that Chris Pratt does a drama scene pretty amazing. And I'm just going to go out there and say it. Spoilers ahead if you haven't seen the movie. So please go see the movie. And if you haven't seen it, just give me a like, subscribe, or whatever, and come back and see what I'm going to talk about right now. There's a scene in this movie where it is basically CG. It's Rocket and Lila. It happens towards the end when you think that Rocket is gonna die. I thought that scene should be nominated for some kind of like Oscar or whatever, because they're fake characters, right? And I don't think voice actors do enough. Not do enough. I don't think they get credit enough to be put on the same level as an actual person that is acting. And for me, that scene alone tugged at everybody's heartstrings so bad. Swear to God, look to your left, look to your right, you're gonna see people having a tear in their eye. Not necessarily boo-hooing, but the fact that CG people with their voice, CG artists created this thing with voice actors, says a lot. It says how much like something can really impact and touch. And that to me is art. And that was beautiful. There's a lot of other things in this movie that make it great. But a lot of my thoughts that I didn't necessarily like, that a lot of people like, are with the High Evolutionary and just the story in general. Adam Warlock. So before I get to the negative parts, I want to talk about what James Gunn has done. I saw this movie on, was it Thursday? But I spent the last couple of days just kind of getting my thoughts together, and I don't really do this with a lot of movies. Reason being is because this one hits a lot. Like, it tugs at the heartstrings a lot. And aside from the plot and the story, the way that, and I know this is a fake movie, nothing's real, but I see a lot of people on TikTok getting, offended by what is being depicted here and how these animals are treated. I don't want to say or come off like I approve of any kind of action that goes on in testing and things like that. Like, I'm an animal lover. I have a dog that I love to death, that I would do anything for. But what we saw on screen is fake. It's just a portrayal of what things happen in real life, and that's the sucky part about this. There was a long running joke. Like, I kind of felt, and this is, I know I'm probably thinking way too much into this, and no, I'm not sensitive like a sensei, but I just think that there was a long running joke about like the bad dog, right? Like, you had this big theme about how, obviously they show Rocket's backstory, but then there's the walrus, the bunny, the otter, they have names. It's Lila, Teeps, and Floor, but I'm just speaking in terms of like their species. You just get this sense that like there's even turtles being used. There's it's just crazy that something, and this is why I think again this movie should be nominated, because it brings out an emotion out of people when this is fake. Like, there's no animals that are being harmed in this movie. It's a depiction, but it really gets people, or me, thinking about how do people feel in our day, because I wouldn't put it past real life to say like that shit really does fucking happen with makeup testing, cologne testing, all these other different tests. Like, we probably don't know or even scratch the surface as to what actually goes on in these kind of labs. You know what I'm saying? So I I don't know. I guess where I was going is like, there's this long-standing joke with this dog Cosmo that she's a bad dog, and it just kind of like, in a sense, made me feel like this movie was just like a horrible thing to animals. And again, I know it's fake, but it was just a little weird for me. But aside from all that, the movie was great. I liked it a lot. The story was meh. I really like how the story like really showed the evolution of the character. Sorry, going back to the movie instead of that crazy stuff. But yeah, you see a really big transition from where the Guardians were from Guardians 1, then Infinity Wars and Endgame and all that good stuff, right? Like you see a big transition from how they've grown. Especially Rocket. Obviously, this was like very heavily, a Rocket story. But it was like I said, it was shot well. I didn't see too many like things graphically that were alarming. There were little tidbit spots there, but nothing really alarming. The movie was amazing. I'm not gonna like beat a dead horse with how great it is, because I do think everybody should go see this movie, and there's plenty of top reviewers already saying that this is like the best Marvel movie since Endgame, and I think it's top. I do think it's top, but for me personally, I like Wakanda Forever better. It just felt different, and people are forgetting about Shang-Chi. Like, that was a damn good movie, man. That was a damn good movie, and it was fun too. So is it a top Marvel film since Endgame? For sure, hands down. Is it the best? I don't know. That's debatable. I think that's just subjective. To me, it'd be second best behind Wakanda Forever. But yeah, no, it was a good movie. Now let's get to the bad that I didn't like. Okay, now guys, don't come for me. This is just my humble opinion. And by no means am I saying that this took away from me liking this movie as much as I did. I do love this movie and I am gonna go see it again, but the story was shit. If I'm being quite honest, there's not much Guardians guarding the galaxy at all. The High Evolutionary just has like a psychopathic mind, and he's just creating civilizations that technically shouldn't exist, and then just killing them all, kind of like like how biblical things, like how God said, like how they say like God like wipes out his creation to start a new creation. That's the whole concept that behind this guy. So he's not like really a galaxy threat. I don't know, maybe I'm stretching here for it, but I just thought it was complete shit. I saw some TikTokers comparing Kang to High Evolutionary, saying High Evolutionary was badass and better and blah 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 blah. People need to pump their brakes with that. And the reason why I say that is because when we were first introduced to Thanos in an end credit, he spun around, you didn't see anything, you don't know how fearsome he is or anything like that. But then as like Marvel movies started progressing, you just hear his name drop. You just hear how he's bad. You just hear, even in Guardians 1, when he makes the appearance with Ronan, like you just see Ronan be fearful of him. Like you don't know why. At no point does he like flex his abilities or anything like that. Same thing with Kang that we got going on right now. You just hear about it. You don't like, he's not doing much, right? But because some guy called the High Evolutionary screams and like lightning or whatever you want to call it like comes out of him, and he's able to crunch people and telepathically like move things, you want to call him a badass? Not to me. Sorry. This guy was whack. I mean, he was, honestly, it was the Guardians. If you boil it down, this movie should have been titled one of two things: Guardians of the Galaxy Save Rocket's Life Special, or Guardians of the Galaxy fights a mad scientist. That is it. I mean, there was nothing in terms of like bigness, and I'm not saying that this movie needed the bigness. I do like how they brought it down to a simple story where it is mostly about saving Rocket's life. But for like, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it was just kind of like why? I mean, I guess, and then I guess like the whole why is like they went over to the High Evolutionary to go, you know, get Rocket's passcode or whatever. But I mean, even so, it was like a 2.5 hour movie about just that, and it was just kind of like, okay, like we get it. You're on a you're on a hunt for this passcode, and you know that's it. That's all it was. And it was, like I said, it was a good movie. It was great. I just felt like the story could have used a little bit more oomph, I guess. Yeah, man, and that's really my biggest gripe was just the story. Yeah, the story was just kind of like meh, and then also like the High Evolutionary was just kind of like meh. Again, I know people are gonna come at me for that, but I would implore people to be subjective about this, or just take a step back and just kind of like, I know you probably love the movie, because I love the movie too, but take a step back and look at it as a whole and be like, does this story really make sense? I mean, like, look what they did to Adam Warlock. Like, I'm not one of those people that says like it has to follow the comic lore, it has to be to the T. If I'm being quite honest, I know jack shit about the Guardians of the Galaxy or Adam Warlock, but I felt that the way they treated Adam Warlock was complete shit too. He's supposed to be this like bounty hunter to save his people's life, because apparently the High Evolutionary is just gonna wipe out that civilization, right? I get it. You're on a bounty hunting trip to go get Rocket, but at some point he goes bang bang explosions, and then he's just there, and then out of nowhere he comes back and he's like, well, why did you save him? And they're like, because everybody deserves a second chance. And then all of a sudden he's a Guardian. It's like what? He doesn't even do anything to celebrate his mother's death. I guess that's left up to assumption. He doesn't even, like, there's no, like, outside of that purpose that he initially started, like, go get Rocket or I'm gonna kill your civilization, there's no mention of that afterwards. It's kind of like, bro, shouldn't you like go to your people and let them know like your mom died, or it's just like shit like that. It just felt very like holes, like holes. It had holes in this story, and for me, those were just the negative things. And I mean, again, like I said, I enjoyed the movie, and the movie was great, fantastic. It was fun. I laughed, I cried. It did what this movie was supposed to do, which was, tell a story and make you feel. Another thing that I really liked about this movie was that it wasn't really connected to anything that's going on in the current MCU, which was fantastic, because you kind of need to step away from the bigger MCU to let things kind of fester and build and set new tones, set new storylines and all that. And I think this movie did it very, very well. And I loved how they sent off everybody to do, essentially what they haven't been able to do because of all the events that started from the time that they met. And I think that with the new Guardians led by Rocket, again, spoilers, and what looked like King Groot at the end there, it looked pretty cool. I mean, I'm very hopeful for the future of the Guardians. And then there was this end credit that said, what was it? The Adventures of Star-Lord will resume or something like that. I don't know what that means. Again, I don't read Marvel too much. I'm a DC guy, but I do enjoy the films. Like I do, just like in DC. I don't think that they necessarily have great films. There's a handful that I love, like Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, even though people hated it. Obviously, Zack Snyder's Justice League, but their animated franchise, or whatever you want to call it, fucking impeccable. It's amazing. And that's what I feel like with Marvel. Like, I don't read their comics because I'm not really that big of a Marvel fan. But out of all the movies that came out, this one to me has to be second best. And I'm throwing the Multiverse of Madness and No Way Home into the pile of shit movies that came out in recent years with Marvel. But yeah, guys, I don't know how to wrap this up because I talked about a weird thing in the beginning about animal treatment. I talked about the goodness, and I talked about the bad shit that I hated. And then I'm telling you, it's a great movie. It is a good movie. So don't get me wrong. I hope people go see this movie, which I know you will. Everybody's gonna go see this fucking movie. It's amazing. It's a great way to end things. And I don't want to spoil it too. I mean, I guess if you've gotten this far, you already know what happens in the end. I'm very happy that nobody fucking died. So happy. And I went and I watched Guardians 1 yesterday, and just to kind of like rewatch and see if there was a theme that I was picking up on in it, and there was. And for once, this gave everybody their happy ending, and they went off and they, started their own lives, which is amazing. So I know that was a little bit weird and a little bit jumpy, but guys, those are my thoughts. Great movie, like I said. Just to recap, shit story in my opinion. Please don't come at me for that. I'm just a humble man, and yeah, the High Evolutionary was just kind of like to me. Yeah, I didn't really like him. I mean, I thought he was villainous, but was he the biggest baddie compared to King? No, I don't think so, because we haven't even seen King yet. So how can you make that comparison? But anyways, it was good. Go see the fucking movie. I'm just rambling here now. All right, guys, go see the movie. I know you will. Enjoy it, and let me know in the comments if you agreed with me, and if you don't, let me know too, but just be nice, because I'm a nice guy. Like it's just my opinion. I'm just a guy that loves movies. But yeah, give me a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and we'll do this again hopefully next weekend. I'm not sure what we're gonna do next weekend, but we'll do it. All right, guys, take it easy, have a great weekend, and just spread that love, guys. Later.